What's poppin'? What it do? It's your boy OK Bet, aka K Trades, man. We back with another one. Pretty slow day. We had a good time waiting, sitting on hands, but we smacked. SPX 2 times over both 100%. We caught SPY puts multiple times. We got stopped out the first time. It did it did kind of go a little higher than I wanted it to, so we did stop out for 15%, but we got back in. So remember I always say you can always get back into the trade, but you'd rather get out, right? And just in case, right? So yeah, it was right here where we got stopped out. But anyway, let's go over the game plan. Kind of go over what happened today, what we're looking for when it comes to reactions, CPI, all that good stuff, and then yeah, we'll go from there. So I do want to say Microsoft did continue up, right? Remember we talked about yesterday on live that the trigger would be above this high, right? Like because remember we said if we got a pullback, it'd be an easier entry. But as far as buying up here, as long as we broke that high, we would still have these upper targets of all these upper resistance up here at around 510, and we did actually hit it. But it was one of those ones where if you didn't catch it at open, you just kind of had to either just take that risk and buy in, because each pullback we didn't really go off this one, didn't go off this one, so it kind of just ended up pretty anticlimactic, but does look kind of good for a gap up scenario. So if it does gap up, right, kind of hold, we could probably look for it to retest that 510 area again, and if it can, obviously, like I said, aim for the highs and go like that. But Microsoft was a good one. NVDA did pull back, right? Remember we talked about this kind of being high up, waiting for a pullback, right? And we talked about we'd rather see it come at least attempt to fill this gap, right? It doesn't have to all the way come fill, but give me something, all right? Show me some support. Show me that there's buyers waiting somewhere, even if it is all the way down here, all right? Anywhere, just show me that there's buyers, and we'll look for that. All right, so let's get to SPY. Well, let's actually switch over to VIX real quick. So VIX is kind of getting close to that area where it does like to pop at. Not saying that we should be expecting any crazy wild volatility like this, but in those areas where we do have those days where little pop, you know what I'm saying, nothing crazy, but that, and then of course we have CPI, right? So I honestly was thinking about getting some calls on VIX, kind of like a hedge, if I did want to play calls on SPY, because CPI is Wednesday, so not tomorrow. So I was kind of wondering if I did want to take a little hedge, maybe buy a couple little VIX calls. Never know, volatility might spike. With a dollar as well, still kind of watching that flat 100, round 100. If it can reclaim that, kind of get a push back up, we might see a little bit more pullback, might be a little bit more selling, we don't know right how it's all going to play out. It's only Monday, so let the days play out, let the time play out. So let's get to SPY and see actually what happened. So we did actually gap down, but let's pull up our levels that we had on stream. Hold on, which one? I got so many charts. Hold on, is it this one? Oh wait, the chart that we went over on stream, basically, so that way y'all can see it. There we go. This is one that we actually went over on stream, so you can kind of visualize it. So we did in fact get that pop, right? And we talked about how if we did reclaim 773, it would look good to push back above Friday's high and then retest that 775. So I didn't buy anything only because of the gap down. I didn't want it to get I didn't want to get trapped, so I kind of waited all day for that move to go up there to 775. But when we did, it was very, very quick. That was very quick entry, very quick payout. So we didn't have to do too much waiting. So that part was good. Quick little 80%. Yeah, see that? 2 candles. We already kind of, what I'm saying? So 80% kind of took that and was like, all right, cool. So any next trade that we get in would be 1DT. So that's when we tried to get the 1DTs, and we got them here, but then we got stopped out because it did ended up closing back above. But we ended up getting back in, got back in, and we still ended up smacking 60% on the 1DTs and then 100 and some percent I forgot on the 0DTs. So like I said, all in all, still was a good day. We got stopped out once, and then I played mostly just SPX end of day, and I got SPX puts and SPX calls. Got both of them. Hold on. Yeah. So I smacked both of them. I did 80% on the puts, and then I did 127% in the last 6 minutes of the day on the calls. But like I said, the scalps are not really things I'm gonna ever call out for real. Like I might be like, hey, I'm looking for end of day power. I might take some here if this happened. But those are too fast, honestly, for me to call out. And the way that SPX moves at the end of the day, I could get in at 1.1. and by the time you read it and go see, it might be at 1.7. You know what I'm saying? So it's very, very risky for me to call out. So people always ask me, oh, do you call out the SPX at the end of the day? If I'm live, I'll call it out. But or if I see it set up, I'll call it out. But just the 2-minute end of day, nah, I'm not calling that out, because it's just too much of a risk, right? And I don't want y'all to remember, we want to take the best trades at the best prices, right? So those are usually kind of lottos. So where do we go from here, right? How we looking? How's everything feeling, right? So if you were on the live, you remember us talking about how we wanted to pull back, but we don't know if we're gonna get one, because we don't always have to get one, right? If we go back in time and look at this rally, you know, we wanted a deeper pullback, but it just kept going. We wanted a little pullback, and it kept going, right? And then this is probably the closest thing to a pullback we got. It wasn't even a pullback, it was just consolidation, right? So we don't really know for a fact if we get the beautiful pullback. Now, the beautiful pullback would be what? A retest of the 20 daily moving average. So some sort of, you know, nothing crazy, not too sharp, right? You don't want it to just flush, because then that kind of looks like a fake out. But, you know, give us something a little lower high, maybe come in here at 760, 750, you know, something in here. This would be the most beautiful long. Like if we could get something that dipped down in here, bro, this would be the most beautiful long if we can, you know, kind of get that breakout back up. But like I said, you know, that's something we'd be looking for over time. So like I said, we did get the gap down, but we came up to retest, right? We went short at 775, and now we're kind of, and I talked about this at the end, like you could short with a few of the runners, right? So we left a few of those, but this could be a nice little cup and handle, right? So that's what it's looking like as of now, nice little cup and handle. So if you hedged, or not hedged, if you what do they call it? If you did calls inputs, if you did both, you might make a little bread on tomorrow. I don't know. It depends on how far it gaps up. But if we do gap up tomorrow, right, and we break above, well, if you're watching this tomorrow, yesterday's high. But if you're watching it today, today's high. If we can get back above today's high, 775, then I can't help it but to target new all-time highs, right? Remember, I want a pullback, right? We all want beautiful entries. We all want the, you know, best setups and all that good stuff. But sometimes when the market's extremely bullish or when it's extremely bearish, sometimes you don't get the best entry that you want, right? So if I don't get the best entry I want, I'll take what I can get, right? Mind you, we did bounce off the 5 daily moving average. So that is a good sign that we did hold a moving average. And we have this kind of like it's like a little wonky inverse head and shoulder going on over here, right? A little breakout, retest neckline. You know what I'm saying? So it does look good technically, right? For a nice little breakout retest. So we will definitely watch tomorrow. Like I said, CPI is Wednesday, right? So not tomorrow. But either way it goes, right? Today I had to, you know, say the same thing. Just patience. Time will tell, right? Time will always tell. When you're seeing this sideways stuff and you're like, oh man, they're just cooking us, or we're getting cooked, time will tell what we're gonna do, right? So if you know for a fact that time will tell you what's gonna happen, why not just wait for it? You know, why not just, we realize, we're not going lower, we're not what the man, profit stop. We got profit stops, right? We set our profit stops and boom, we got stopped out. That was it, right? That was just pretty much it. And we just kind of chilled, waited, watched for some alerts, right? We got some false signals, right? We got a break over here, over this rejection zone, one little wick, and then it came all the way back down, you know? So set your alerts, and then you just kind of go from there, right? You can't control it if it's going sideways. You definitely don't want to be guessing if it's going sideways, right? So if this is, like I said, just a cup and handle, and it wants to take off, right, we'll see a nice little gap up, right? Anything that holds, or let's say it does gap up over today's high, Monday's high. I'll say Monday, because if we gap up and hold Monday's high, boom, any kind of dip that gets bought, 15, 30, hour, whatever, and we start to push back out, that's all we can do. That's all we can do is aim for all-time highs, right? And like I said, it is scary playing anything at all-time highs. So if I do decide to take that trade and it's, you know, everything looks good, holding VWAP, volume's good, all that good stuff, then we'll take it, you know, and we'll just make sure we're careful, right? I'm not gonna oversize or anything like that. I might go smaller size just because we don't know, you know, really what's past up here. So it is gonna be a very scary trade if we do just gap up and go, because the gap and goes can do like this, right? Or do like this. So we don't really know how that's gonna look. But if it is a gap and go, hey, we might have a good little runner day, you know? It might be one of those days where we're like, yes. Just glad you just bought calls and went to bed or something like that. So upside, like I said, is scary, but it's a very nice, good, very, very good PA. So let's look on the opposite side, right? What do we do on the opposite side? So for us, because this is kind of an inside candle on the higher time frames, same levels, right? 775 and then that low around 771.75, right? Or really you can just use the 5-day because the 5-day probably move up. So if we do break below, let's say we go up whatever, and we're not liking that 773, right? Remember, anything above 773, you gotta look for 775, right? Anything below 773, you gotta kind of look back for that 771, 770 lower levels, right? So if we break below this and we don't gap up or whatever, even if we do gap up and fail, right? Anything that gets back below 773, if the ball is below 773's court, you gotta watch for those lower highs, right? And if we do clear that 5, wait for us to break down, retest. And if we do get that retest, right, target your 769, 768. And then if we just, want to make that lower low because we got a low, high. Like if they do want to give us a technical lower low, it could be in here, it could be in here, right? They could give us another one, right? They could make it slow. So just make sure you're taking profit, level to level if you are shorting because this is a very bullish market, right? So the bulls are still in control, as we can see clearly. So never want to doubt their control, right? Because that's what happened last time. People missed the huge rally because they were just like, this has to pull back. It has to do this. It has to do this. The market don't got to do nothing, right? We know this. We've seen this plenty of times, right? Market can go sideways for 6 months if it wants to, right? It can go up straight for 9 weeks like it did if it wants to, So never really kind of let that bias get in your head, right? Like I said, I'm a bull, but if we do want to go lower for a pullback, I probably prefer that, than just buying up here. But if it is what it is, then it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So upside, be on watch. Downside, you got your levels, be on watch. And I wouldn't really expect too much, not with CPI coming on Wednesday. So if it is a lower volume day, play light. Don't go too crazy, right? CPI is in pre-market, so I'll probably have to do a update before market closes because CPI is pre-market Wednesday. So we'll have to kind of get your affairs in order and all that good stuff. So if we do start to close the day, let's say we're up here, we're pushing, and we're closing the day. Me personally, I'm not swinging no puts at all time high. I'm not doing that, but I wouldn't swing calls either. So if we did have like a crazy day tomorrow, we just ran right into CPI, I might leave some runners on some calls, but I definitely wouldn't think about shorting this. I just personally wouldn't. Not to say that they can't, right? You can definitely get some divergence and then they use it for like a gap down. Of course they can, but it would just feel safer to me to play calls. I mean, to not play calls or anything, right? But if we did close a little lower, right? Let's say we close like down here tomorrow. Something happens, we close pretty low. I wouldn't mind it taking a lotto for some calls. But either way, like I said, I probably feel a little safer down here playing some lottos. But up here, nah. I'd rather just miss out on the rally than get cooked, So we don't know how it's gonna play out, like I said. So all we can do, hey, watch price action, see how it all plays out, and then kind of go from there. Because if they want to continue in this uptrend, they can, right? They can just go and go and go and go, right? Kind of like they did last time. So be patient tomorrow. Remember, this is as simple as you make it. You complicate it, it'll be complicated. Keep it simple, it'll be simple. So hit me if you need anything. All links in the bio, everything. And yeah, man, keep God first. Lock in, be patient. And yeah, I'll see y'all. Peace.